How's everybody doing? Well, welcome to Corona Online School Day 3. So the goal for today is we want to finish up section 10.2, which is talking about finding the area and perimeter of different polygons. So rectangles, triangles, parallelograms, and trapezoids. So we did a little bit of this last time using GeoGebra, and so now the goal is we want to actually kind of discover the formulas on our own. So you may know these formulas from other classes, but again, we want to treat this like we're a student. So these would be good activities you would actually do with your students to have them try to discover the formula rather than just give it to them and have them do problems with it. So turns out that most times when students are given the formula, they don't tend to remember it as much as if they discover the formula on their own. So this will be pretty short because a lot of this I'm going to have you kind of work on your own. So I will talk about a few areas. So the first thing, I just wanted to talk about the definitions real quick. And again, you may know what these are. So the perimeter is just the amount outside the polygon. So it's the amount of length around the shape. And the area is the number of square units it takes to fill up the shape. So it's the number So if you think about this as like kind of a fence and a land problem, if you fenced off a piece of land, the fence would be the perimeter around the outside of the land, and the thing that's inside the fence would be the area, trying to calculate what's inside of it. So in this case, part one, I'm going to leave for you guys to do. And so part two, is kind of two parts. There's a question one and a question two. So in both cases, we're trying to come up with 6 polygons that have different square units. And so what we're looking at is a nice geoboard. So if you've never seen these before, these are kind of neat because normally they'd be like wooden with nails and you'd put rubber bands on them. And then you can kind of make shapes with these. And so if you've never seen one, like I said, there's a nice app you can actually use. You can either download for your phone or you could go to the website that I put a link on the My Team Space. So I'm going to switch to the app real quick just so you can see what it looks like. So in this case, this is what GeoBoard would look like on your app. And so the idea is it allows you to make all kinds of different shapes and things like that. So what you would do is just kind of grab a rubber band, put it on 2 of the dots, and then if you grab it from the middle, you can actually kind of stretch it out to the different pieces. So in this case, I've made a 1 square unit block. So now if I add another rubber band, now I've got a 2 square unit block. And if I add another rubber band, whoops, I put that in the wrong spot, so let me move it up there. Now I've got a 3 square unit square block in this case. And so for part one, that's what they were actually asking, build 6 different polygons that have this kind of shape. So again, get creative with it. So again, before you write it on paper, it'd be a better idea to kind of play around with these guys like this, just to make sure you know what you're doing. You want to make sure you get distinct figures and things like that. So what I mean by distinct figures is, let me get rid of this yellow one here. So this shape we have there. So let me draw it. Let's see. Well, let me start over. So if I drew this shape, oops. Notice it looks slightly different than the first one, but it really isn't because it was just a rotation of the other one. So that's what you want to keep in mind when you're drawing these. You want 6 distinct ones. And remember, you can also use concave and convex if you look at the directions. So on the second part, it asks you to find square units that are 2.5 square units. So the way we would do that is just kind of move one of these guys into a triangle. So now we've got 1 square unit plus a half. So that would be a figure that would be like 2.5. square unit. So again, there's lots of different ways you can draw these and things like that. So again, it's good to experiment using the GeoBoard app rather than just drawing them on paper and then having to erase a bunch of times. So if you have any questions with that, definitely let me know. So, and once you're finished with part 2, drawing all these pictures, what I want you to do is take a picture of your work, and I've made a spot in the collaboration site where you can actually post your answer. So every person has their own page, so you can go in and post your picture. So make sure you go around and look at everybody else's pictures, so that way you can see if people came up with different answers than you did, or, so again, be really creative with that, have fun with it. So if we scan through, part 3 is kind of walking through how to find the area of a parallelogram. So again, you guys can do that. Part 4, same thing, but a triangle. Part 5, same thing, but a trapezoid. So if you do get stuck and have any questions on them, definitely message me. I'll be around all day on the computer, so I can kind of help fill in any gaps you might be missing. So part 6 is just applying the formulas that we're finding in the previous examples. And then part 7 is using what's called the addition property to basically kind of divide this graph up into sections that you already know, like how to find the area of. So like in this case, this L might be hard to calculate the area of, but if I were to divide it there, now I'm really just looking at 2 rectangles. So I could add up rectangle A, rectangle B, and then combine them together, and that would give me the whole area of the shape L. So again, once you finish your answers to these guys, part 6 and part 7, I've made another spot in the collaboration space where you can put your answers in. So there's tables, so just go ahead and write your name down, put in your answers in the collaboration space for those guys so we can check each other's work. And then finally, the last thing is activity 8, which is actually going to be our exit ticket. So once you fill out your answers to activity 8 on paper, then go find the exit ticket on My Teams. And there's actually 16 questions, because what I've done is I've broken each question into, what's the perimeter for question 1, what's the area for question 1, what's the perimeter for question 2, what's the area for question 2. So just enter the numeric answer. Do not use units. So I didn't put units in there. So if you want to make sure you get it right, just go ahead and put the number in as the answer. But otherwise, have fun with this section. If you have any questions or anything like that, just let me know, and I'll be around on the computer tomorrow. So have a good day, and I'll talk to you then. Bye.